But
Yeah.
let's get started with your interview, Hart. How does that sound?
Sure. So before the interview, I think one more thing I would recommend you to
Do
try next time when you go to hot pot
Oh, yes.
restaurant,
please
like
do.
the Chinese authentic, hot pot
Yeah,
restaurants,
whatever. Yeah.
is to try the cow's stomach. I think
Oh
that's part
yes,
of the.
tripe. Yes,
Yes, you should
love
try
ick.
that.
Love tripe.
It's very good. Yes.
I think last time I had hot pot in Bloomington, I want to say I was with Kurt Bear, and he insisted we get tripe. Uh, Kurt, come on the show. We say that like every month these days, but he'll be on. He'll be on. He'll be on.
Yeah.
Daisy, do you want to do the honors this week?
Yes,
Do
I
it.
do.
Do
If
it.
you remind me, I can do. I will remember to
This
do
is
it.
why I remind you.
So
My God, there is no exclamation point Kurt command.
people are being silly in the chat.
Oh.
Folks, you know what we do. Every week we have guests on the show, or maybe most of the weeks, 80% of the weeks we have guests on the show. And we like to interview them. We ask them questions about their work and their life and their stuff related to folklore that we think is cool and that hopefully they think is cool too. But it's not just me and Dom, even though you see us every week. There's a whole other team of people who get together behind the scenes to do research and come up with the questions. So if you hear a question that you like, if you start laughing, if the guest is like, that's a good question, don't think us, think the sleuthing team.
Definitely definitely don't think chat, who is trolling me so hard.
Yeah, don't think the Academy. It's not them. It is
It is the sleuths.
the sleuths.
Oh, one
the
of the
wonderful
sleuths
and
is in
terrific.
chat making fun of me.
Yeah. Yes. we can do like little commands in our chat to make text like pop up for anybody to use, and they're making up ones that we don't have.
Yes, they're making up commands that we don't have prompts for. Come on. Chill. I'll do it on break. Chill.
Oh my gosh.
All right, chat, calm down. We're going to actually interview Hart, okay?
Yeah.
Hart, hi.
Hello.
Now that I'm having a
Hello.
conversation with you instead of my chat. All right, let's start this off, Hart. Let's start this off. According to your Twitter bio, you're interested in communication studies, phenomenology, liberatory ethico-onto-epistemologies, environmental humanities. And your CV is just packed with talents and scholarship representative of a huge range of interests. What do you think is the thread that ties all of your academic interests together?
I think it's well. First of all, I have to say thank you so much for do your research at the team and come up with this amazing question at the team. I think for me, it's just really part of the self-discovery. Like you mentioned earlier about the tokens, Dionysian fours and Apollonian fours that's together, and when Daisy mentioned about entanglement or intertwined together, it's just for me to figuring out what is going on, what are entangled together. And those kind of events or experience that I did is also part of the journey, which helped me to understand, the being. So that's why you can see I have a very practical communication background where I interview people, storytelling, field work, and then on the other side, I have very philosophical part where I do things very kind of theory heavy, the critical studies, all the things. But at the end of the day, they all grounded in our everyday practice.
Yeah. Great answer, and great folklore answer too.
Yeah,
tie it all together, make it everyday practice by the end. I guess the follow up to that is what motivates you to keep diving into all these diverse areas. Like what drives you to keep doing that instead of picking one and sticking?
Yeah. Again, that's an amazing question, and to clarify the question in a very different way, or if not opted, is trying to say what is stopping me or stopping us? Trying to move
that's
forward.
That's a good follow-up part.
Back on us. That's good.
What? Never. I don't think we've had a guest do that yet.
That's good. That's true.
So I think that for me, it's just part of my life energy. As long as you recognize it, and trying to dance with it, enjoy that process. So I've been very enjoying doing that. And I'm being so blessed to be able to engage with the folklore community which is amazing, including folk-wise. I see those as the sparkling moments, but they don't only flash. They will last, and you will remember, and then they will stay with you.
Aw, thank you.
It's like beautifully poetic.
All right, this is going to be great. All right.
Sure.
Hey, let's ask you like a harder question, okay?
It's a little bit harder, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Can you explain phenomenology to an audience that may not have heard of it before, but have probably given or attended a Zoom lecture?
Oh, well, it's one of those questions you want to understand once you heard the word phenomenology or phenomenological stuff.
Yeah.
So it's, if you see the history, you know, of the scholarship, where you see how it was started or it was even developed, you can see it's from the continental philosophy happened in European, you know, area where the philosopher started to understand, go back to things themselves. It's actually go back to human experience itself. So it's trying to decolonize the traditional way we think research or we think science, that objective, emotionalist, non-human, where phenomenologists go back to what is going on with us. But by saying what is going on is really not something wrong, because every time we think, well, what is going on with you? You think, oh, something must be wrong with me. I better check, you know, at some point. But what is going wrong or what is going on with us is the best part of studying phenomenology, because you need first to see things. So make your eye open to see those things, the phenomenon. Folklore is definitely the best phenomenon you can ever engage with by communicating with people. So it's always open-ended. It's always as you see it and you experience it, and then you play with it. So I think one of the best expression that Nietzsche says is just a dancing star. That's the best metaphor you can ever imagine, you know, being a dancing star and dance with those chaos around us. So it's not always an easy way, and it's never an easy job, even when we're doing storytelling. No, it's not. It's so hard to listen. It's so hard to tell the story in a way can be attractive and to fitting the traditional lens of the fabulous storytelling. No, it's not. But it's fascinating to understand what we are trying to tell, why we tell, and what if we don't tell? What if we tell in a very different way at very different time to a different person? Why do I tell this story to you? Why am I asking the story? So phenomenology is really just that part of the life energy again, to give us the confidence, which you already have in you, and to learn better about the world around you. So it's a very humanized approach and a way of thinking to understand the embodiment of everything you see, you hear, you experience. So it's definitely connected to folklore for sure. And I think it's very comforting too. It's not trying to understand how to be more, you know, complicated, sophisticated, more successful. It tells you how to be a human. So I think that's how we see phenomenology. And that's why I'm being so excited to engaging with it all the time.
Now, you did some research about like the phenomenology of Zoom, right?
Oh yes, I did.
Yeah. Talk
yes,
to us about that. Talk to us about that. Well, your definition, you two in a row that you've explained something really big and then neatly wrapped it up at the end. So now let's move on to like the phenomenology of Zoom. Now that we understand how now that we are aware of how we are experiencing things, related to your research with Zoom.
Yeah, I will do a trailer actually. So because I'm going to present the paper, which is follow-up to that phenomenology of Zoom research at the collective address to death.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Post it in the chat.
Hey!
Post
that link, Daisy.
Yeah, I will. I will.
So one of the things that I noticed is that when we are at work, before the pandemic, we feel like we want to be at home. Like, because if you go on the Twitter, you can see every day, every Monday is Monday thoughts, then Tuesday thoughts. Then we have TGIF, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
And then when I was doing this Zoom research, I heard a lot of people telling about is when they have to work at home and then we have to stay at home to work.
Yeah.
Every day they feel like they are at work while they're staying at home. So the follow-up research I did was more about the labor and engaging with the Marxist theory of, the capital, the manuscript actually about his first. But the Zoom research I found the most interesting part is how people recognize that it takes time for them to connect and disconnect. Where one of the interesting, I remember from the Informants interview, they're saying that every time after the Zoom meeting, whether it's for class or for teaching or other work related stuff, when they shut down the software, they have to sit there in front of the laptop, the screen, to tell them, oh, it's over, I need to take a break, and then take time to transition to their work. And extremely hard for the traditional gender roles, especially for those moms, what they usually call the double day mom, now is the triple day mom, because they have to work and they have to cook and they have to take care of everything at home. And when they are not have to go to the work, everything have to be taken care of while they are working at home. So extremely challenging for those people, and extremely challenging for very normalized gender roles in various cultures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like all in the same space. And so there's not a moment of transition to and from the embodied moment in the space. It's like all happening together at once, and you have to like figure out how to, I don't know, untangle it.
Well, as long as this is coming up, do you want
Yes.
my data point for this research?
You're making me think of so many interesting things right now, Hart. Yeah.
Yes,
So
please,
Hart and
please,
Daisy.
yeah.
Daisy, I don't know if I ever
Okay,
told you this. I might have told you this.
Okay.
Hart, you definitely don't know
maybe.
this. But when I was beginning of the pandemic working at the museum, at the end
Mhm.
of I would work like 8 to 6 and take a 2-hour break in the middle of the day. And I had a colored lamp. And I had like a lamp that like changed colors. And for the first 4 hours of my day, it was light blue. The back 4 hours of my day, it was white. And then I had to make it some other color. Like the second I logged off, I had to change the color, So I kind of had like sky and then like midday sky and then whatever fantastic color I wanted. But that was part of my like logging off ritual.
Great. I like the use of the ritual as you mentioned, because that's where the phenomenology, can try to help us to understand what is going on. And one way I see it is people use creative expressions to help them experience the Zoom. Like for example, I did use the background when I was doing the Zoom class also.
Yeah.
So right now we have very funky technology help us to engage with space. Where people had hard time to go to sleep while they were having long time Zoom meetings, and they start to, for example, use different lights, they have different music, have to change rooms from the kitchen to the bedroom. They started thinking, change the specific location of the Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
So that's where I try to see people, how amazing that they start to use their body to adjust things. At the same time, when we are experiencing the daylight type theming, when the pandemic happening, is where I see how body rhythm began to emerge for us to understand how it actually not only more, physical, like you just change it, it's like a snap. You just change your clock, you just change your body. You're like, you know what? You can go to sleep at 10, so why not? Is it that hard to adjust? People like everyone is focused on, have to be productive. So that means I don't have time to adjust. But then Zoom start to make people to understand, first of all, you do have time. Second of all, your body needs time to adjust the changes. And that's where they start to celebrate all those changes when they are during the pandemic, with all other challenges, with the fear and other excitement. Some people do actually enjoy, working at home for multiple reasons.
Uh,
Give me
no, I love all of this. I love all of this because it's like I love when folklore scholarship gets like so relatable to like shit so much people have like experienced. You know, chat. You can relate, right? I definitely can.
Yeah, my advisor Meryl Kaplan. You're reminding me when you said keeping track of time, and like how your body needs time to do different things, and like how your time is actually spent. Meryl has like I don't think it's TickTick, but it's like another kind of app where you can record different types of time that you spend doing stuff. So you can like stop timers to do certain things, and it will record how your day is spent doing things. And she has all kinds of weird ones that she was just trying to like track kind of in a phenomenological way. And one of them that has been really fascinating that I think she's talked about on Twitter before is she will track the amount of time that she has spent like in DMs or like chatting with other people about sexual assault, particularly within her field, our field of folklore, but also of other things, like stuff that comes up where people are like, you actually spend emotional labor and time talking about these things, and people don't acknowledge how much time that actually takes. So then like in a year, she can say, wow, I spent X number of minutes doing this. Like that is a chunk of unpaid time that matters a lot to the community, but is also something that we like don't factor into our schedules when we have time to do stuff. It's very fascinating. So I think a lot about, spending time, and mentioning that in relation to Zoom and phenomenology is like doing something for me.
It's really watering your crops.
It's really watering my crops, to use an ecological metaphor. We love those on this show.
Hart, I think my next question is, could you talk a little bit about mass media as social practice and as a social practice and collective memory?
Oh, yes, for sure. So I assume that's a great question. I assume this great question is based on my paper on the Pennsylvania Dutch.
Yes, it is. Right, Daisy?
Where
I think so, yeah.
where those, media start to narrate different things about certain community and their beliefs, about what is going on. It's also very similar to how we know things at the first place. So one of the interesting and the important part is to understand what do we mean by using the word journalism or newspaper. Those are the sources for us to understand, to know things first. And we often think the first-hand history was written by journalists, but we also need to understand the second-hand, the third-hand was also written by those journalists or different newspaper articles where we are reading every day. So that's where I think it becomes a very interesting source, or people might want to use data for the researcher who are interested in those narratives to understand them, how that those narratives actually can unfold different pictures, different stories, which in a long term, you can see different patterns showing up. So that's what I did, trying to understand, this particular thing called powwowing in Pennsylvania Dutch community as folk medicine before the periods of the modern, those, the chemical or other biochemical, those medicine
orthodox
or
medicine.
technology.
Yeah, what do you call the opposite of folk medicine? Yeah.
You name it. Yes.
Institutional medicine, yeah.
And I'm from China, so I do have a lot of experience with the traditional Chinese medicine. You probably can see all the herbs and other things, those different needles. So where I can understand why there are several murder, like the murder case happened involved specifically surrounding this specific folk practice, the medicine part. So that's where I see, how about study journalism? Because they report things at the time as one of the main things for people to learn those things through mass communication. So that's where I see during that specific historical context, newspaper become the main thing. So then I start, just understand what is going on. How did they write stories? It's amazing difficult to access archive physically during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that during the pandemic, but there's a great resource called newspaper.com. And thanks to one of the peer that she helped me get access to that whole database where I can access a lot of the images, articles, and to make notes of those things. That's kind of my virtual field work.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
originally I was going to interview people, local community, but it did involve a lot of things have to change. So I love that. I think part because where you can see how that aligns my now kind of research commitment, study media's role or the media's function or the power in culture inclusion and exclusion. That's where you can see words really do matter. Storytelling matters a lot. It just in very various ways. Those narratives, or some new scholarship called critical narrative studies, where you can really just to examine, how those different words can play a role in people's memory at a very collective level, or even in the community-based those practice, and it can cause people's different actions against a certain community. I think that's also aligned with the January 6th event happened in the US, where people, even on Twitter, how those mass communication spread things and create mass actions.
Yeah, and it's such a well documented event because so many people were live streaming. Of course, the guy on Twitch would immediately think of that. But yeah, exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes. So that's where I think it's interesting for me. Just follow your interest, follow your stuff, follow your heart. That's I think it's very important for every person, not only so-called scholar or activist. It's for every human being to follow your curiosity and keep following your curiosity.
Daisy, did you notice what Hart just did there?
I think I posted it in the chat. Follow your heart.
No, I was going to say, well, yes. Oh. No, I'm not pointing that out.
That was cute.
I thought it was cute. You made a pun. Hart answered his follow-up question before I could ask it. So great.
Oh, right. Yeah, it was good. Yeah,
I immediately got to the next thing I wanted to ask. But we got one more like question about like your work, and then we're gonna get some fun stuff. Actually, this one is kind of fun. Because I relate to it a lot. And let's see, where do I begin? How far back do I go, Daisy?
At least age 10.
No, well,
maybe even...
it was about 13 when I was done. But I was gonna say from when I could talk to about 5 years old. Only my mom could understand me. That's how like bad I lisped. I had like very poor, not just like public speaking skills, but like social skills, because like I was unintelligible for a while, and I was in like speech pathology classes until I was about 13. Yeah. And it's something I really had to work on. And you could argue that this whole thing is me compensating for lost time early in childhood, because now all I do is talk. But something we picked up when we were looking at your book about public speaking, Hart, is you talked a little bit about the challenges you faced early in life with speaking, but you're so comfortable with it now, and you're giving a great interview. I guess what we here want to know is, how did you become so comfortable speaking, and how have you become such like a prolific presenter in this academic space?
At literally every conference.
You're at literally every conference. You're going to the one Daisy name dropped. You're on my panel at AFS. You're popping off everywhere. How'd you do it?
I think being everywhere is a very much a thing every person can do, because you follow the story, you follow the opportunity to tell your story. And then I think now I've realized, something I didn't realize before, but I really think this is a great question to help me understand about me, or part of me is to practice folklore. Folkloristic practice, to tell their story, to be expressive. So I published that book. It's actually self-published. when I was in sophomore in college in China.
Oh, wow.
So English is not my first language, but I wrote that in English, trying to practice languages.
Oh,
That's cool.
And also, I was practicing public speaking, but I have a lot of, different things going on where I don't even know why do we have to take that class. It's very westernized in a way, rhetorically oriented
Yeah.
to express yourself, present yourself in a certain way,
yeah.
to attract your audience, to giving them a certain idea. Then even though I think that's part of the decolonization happening
Yeah.
in this process of communication. If there is a communication, then there's always a hope to perform your Dionysian force of becoming and overcoming yourself and overcoming all the possibilities which empowered by communication. You don't ask for it, you do it. So that's what I do. I think when I see the opportunity, I apply for it. There's always a process to engaging, especially in a very well-established academia in the US. If it's not, you ask for what is going on. I always do, all kinds of inquiries to people. And I always ended up with great stories to tell. Those, I think for me, I do experience a lot of that hot pot game where I always be alone, because you need to be independent first to be able to express yourself. Because otherwise, you're not expressing yourself, you're expressing something else. So that's very important. And this doesn't mean you have to be certain, have a certain title, have a certain degree, be certain status in your career. No, none of this matters to help you become independent. You need to think independent first. Then you can be independently to understand how you can connect with people and disconnect people at your own will, at your comfort level. It's not about I'm isolated with anyone else or alienated with anything else that I don't want. Like I just pick this and exclude that. Well, that will make things a lot easier if that's the case. No, it's a lot like those entanglements going on, but you're in control. You're play with it. You're dance with the chaos. So I think that's where I see public speaking is to address what I think important. It's usually about justice. It's if you are really want things changed, public speaking is really hard to achieve that goal because it does feel good when you express, but it did not change much at all. Mm-hmm. But that's where I think we need to ground it in our practice public speaking, but also on the second hand, do our own research and scholarship to push forward those things, the policy makings, the boundaries of understand what is okay, what is not okay, such as abortion. What is human rights? What is body rights? What is going on with us? And what is wrong with us at this moment? So I think that's where I start to be everywhere. You can be everywhere. Everyone can be everywhere. It is not only a free planet or whatever. It just, okay. Please go. The summer is right there. Explore the world. Be safe though, but enjoy.
Yeah.
Enjoy a part of the being. There's no traditional path for anyone to be. There's always a way for you to enjoy those expressions. And I think that's everywhere. It is everywhere. You cannot control what you think is right or wrong, right? You cannot even control what are you going to say for the first 5 minutes, right? Because it's always contingent there. And you need to grab, you need to accept, you need to validate those feelings happen in you. And I think that's where you see the connection happening, all those dynamics happening in your body. And then your body is not only a surface or not a vessel, it becomes a life world of you and everyone else and you everywhere. So that's what I do. I think probably shows up some signs you see.
You're making me think about the phenomenology of public speaking now. and
It's
like
definitely-
performance and like yeah. I'm so motivated right now.
Chat loved that answer. I love
Chat
that
is
answer.
like popping off.
You know, if we do yeah,
Deathlora
chat
says
was,
Hart could be a straight up life coach. Be a life coach.
Also,
consider that.
if we Daisy, if we do like a Wisely Award for best answer, this is on the short list.
This is on the short list. Yeah, that was really good.
That was good.
No, it's true. Like, yeah, it all kind of like, we're in a cyclical process of relating to each other and informing ourselves about our worldview through the experiences that we have, and knowing what it feels like to walk off the stage after public speaking. Like, that's a phenomenological experience. I don't know. You said so many things that like made my brain like start ticking, and like thinking about like audience expectations when you do a public speaking class. It's like, well, what kind of audience is going to receive information that way? I'm thinking about a million different things, and I feel like I have to go see the world now.
Yeah. We've got more questions, but yeah, I need to go. Do some phenomenons.
Let's go on a trip together. Oh my god.
Do you want to ask this
We'll
next
just
one,
say
Daisy?
yes.
Daisy, do you want to ask the next one? Yeah, go for it.
Sure, I'm happy for that. Okay, so starting or like being immersed in communication studies, and then kind of like dabbling in folklore and environmental humanities and all these different areas. What is your favorite aspect about folklore that makes you want to do research and hang out with folklorists over all of these other disciplines that you're connected to?
Yes. Wow. It's amazing. I think it will always be my returning question to myself also about why folklore, right?
Yeah.
Or why not folklore? Or, and I think even does not have to labeling, as folklore, because folklore itself, once you label it, it's hard to maintain that robust energy, which associated with folklore is actually everywhere. So I think I see it because I listen. I listen to people sharing their stories. I made friends. So one of the gifts from my first informants is this mug. I received this gift during the pandemic.
Wow.
She's an local artist. Actually lives in Harrisburg. So
Cool.
I actually like formally start to approach folklore scholarship in the US is when I do my master at Penn State Harrisburg, where I met those amazing like faculty members.
Was it Simon Bronner that did it? Was Simon Bronner like
yeah.
So sometimes he's watching. Sometimes he's watching.
He's a good mentor for sure.
Yeah.
He's on my master's thesis committee. He gave me a lot of courage, to be able to access those resources or networks that we're having now. I see those people as, scholars who are in the field. Then I can see, oh, this is interesting. I want to see what's going on there. Then I just, start to read their newsletters. And then I see Dr. Lucy Lon's, like call for participation. Then I sign up for it. Then I have the first conversation with her. And then that's helped me start to engage more and more with those fields where I can see, people from sociology, history, culture studies, gender studies, physics, they all come to folkloristic studies where I see, it's become one of those figure folklore, I can definitely for sure, like the Met Gala, become one of those figure where it's afford everyone to freely express themselves and to be themselves, to where, tell your story. And, then if one of the things you will be amazed when you want to encourage people to share. And then one of the things I don't want it to use or I should ever use is I've heard it all. So just to blurt it out, no, you should never do that. I mean, I think that's something I'm telling to myself because everyone tells even the same thing very, very powerfully. It's just so powerful. It's just so powerful to ignore, other human beings trying to tell you something. isn't that something you want to do every day for the rest of your life and for your second life, your third life? It's just like it makes you want to be a cat. You can have 9 lives just sitting there
Yes.
and right here, all the things going on all day, all nights. That's where, yeah. Go ahead.
You're just making me think like that's a totally under discussed area of like what folklorists do is they're really good at listening.
Oh, I say that all the time.
Well, yeah, we say a lot of stuff on the show, though other people aren't saying all the time about folklore. But one thing is that people I think a common misconception that people say about folklore is they think that we are going to tell them a story, or they think that we are going to do the dance or whatever. We are the practitioner of the folklore, and I think that's a misconception.
Yeah,
it's almost better to assume first that we are the listener of the story rather than the performer of the story.
Yeah,
and I think that your point really made that obvious, that some of it is don't you want to just listen to people tell cool stories about their life? Yeah,
that's my job.
I totally want to do that.
Yeah. Sometimes you get to participate, and that's just the cherry on top.
Yeah. You're making me think too, we were joking earlier about being tradition doctors. I mean, maybe we're not really joking. We're half joking. Whatever.
I'm not joking. That is what I tell people.
It's a funny way to
is.
Yeah, it's a funny way to say folklore, but yeah, basically. Another thing sometimes I tell to people is I say I have an advanced degree in bards. The people who are performing and bringing people together in the community, doing something, because we're listening to the people. We're why is everybody following the musician around? That kind of thing. So why wouldn't you want to hang out with a bunch of bards that are just going to take you to the party, and you just get to observe and hang out and cheer in when you get called in? And yeah, you're speaking my language right now.
I love that. Definitely. You can hang out with folklorists. You cannot hang out with other people. It's too hard.
Communication scholars.
Well, I was going to say my friend, shouts out to my friend Peter, who is sometimes in chat as Gustav Mahler. But Gustav Mahler came to Rodrigo Chicano's birthday party one time, and he said, there shouldn't be that much difference between a musicology and ethnomusicology party, but this ethnomusicology party is the most fun I've ever had.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask this. I'm gonna ask this one next, Daisy, because I think there's a Harrisburg connection. You won the 2021 Don Yoder Award with your paper about witch trials. What's a fun fact about witches that you didn't know before doing research on them?
I love watching witchcraft stuff. Movies, books, TV series, because I believe in magic. I mean, you name it. I don't know. I probably is more accurate. I believe in magical moments. Where how I connected with folklore communities, how I become me today. I think those are the moments where you grow, and you not always in a very linear way, and you start to open your eyes, open your hearts to seasons. So I think witchcraft is just amazing. I don't know. It's witchcraft. How can you not be interested in that? If you really look at the genealogy of the witchcraft, I think, almost always untraceable. So that's also made it so fascinating to understand how that's got started, how people got started to, to have the thing called witchcraft. And each culture also have very different reactions. So my interest is to follow those human reactions, because we often talk about the witchcraft trial happened in the U.S., the Salem one. Mm-hmm. Everyone's talking about, the Salem one, of course. And then in 1920s, and there's several murders because of witchcraft. And the reporter or the investigator trying to understand what's going on, and they received the death threat from the family. So that's where I see, why do we react to this way? And from there, you can go to then trying to see, what do you mean witchcraft? Hold on a moment. What do you mean witchcraft? Then there's a lot of stories start to emerge. So I think I'm more interested in how people engage with this phenomenon called witchcraft. But also, I do like story books a lot. I used to do creative writing, so I can do a lot of creative stuff in the manuscript.
Mm-hmm.
But I do also believe it aligns with the creativity that we do in folk performance and a practice. So witchcraft is definitely one of it. And it's all about the survival too. Because, some of the scholars actually from anthropology where they study folklore as the form of survival, if not the only one. Because you have to network with people by sharing, this is not eatable. Don't eat that mushroom. It is not okay.
You're not going to have a happy rainbow memory.
No. And then you start to understand, why did that make it folklore, right? Because it started with very vernacular level, very informal, very daily, non-noticeable format or manner. And then there's always that magical moment. If not very phenomenal, people realize, oh, that is something. You did some discovery. That mushroom is something that no one should touch. So that's where I see those, what I named those magical moments where make a big difference for people to understand the power of those storytellings, which we now, study as folklore or folkloristic related studies. So I think it's basically everywhere. But witchcraft is always remains one of the big parts of my interests or hobbies. I also do fortune telling. So
stick around for the break, chat. We have an ad for Hart's fortune telling. Don't worry.
It was inherited from my mom.
Oh, good.
So, you're making me think about like the enchantment, disenchantment, and how folklore can be kind of like a re-enchantment. This is like a broad strokes. I know.
Yes.
People are gonna say exclamation point enlightenment on this one, but it's they're being disenchanted with the world, and like we know too much. Like if we know everything, then nothing is fun. Like magic is great because it kind of doesn't matter if it's there or not. It's an enchantment of the world.
Yes.
Yeah, and like you're making me think like folklore is enchantment of everyday life. Like that, this is an enchanting way to be in the world. To think phenomenologically.
Yeah, I think now we talk a lot about, especially for the higher education, we talk a lot about commitment, a very political word. But for folklorists, we talk about, love, right? At the end of the day, we just love stories. We love those things. It's just deeply in us. And we do make mistakes too. That's why on your board, on your poster, the ethics is the first thing. It's always the first thing, the last thing you should think over and over again. And there's no right, wrong answers, but it stays with you. And that's because you love doing those things. So I think if you fall in love with something, everything's there.
We got two more questions for you, and then and then we've got a game for you. But the first one, you mentioned you're in Maine right now.
Oh yes.
And it was the Penobscot land, you said?
Yes,
Penobscot.
That is correct.
And if I know one thing about Mainers, they love nature. They love the woods. They love the painful rocky beaches. But what's your favorite part about like the natural landscape of Maine?
I think it's just those you can feel being in environment. The environment which can be wild. I commute by walking to campus. So and I cannot bike during the winter when we have the northeast or whatever, those storms.
The nor'easters, yeah.
Yeah, the nor'easters. Yes, you're right. Those things, it can be very harsh for you to do those regular things, which you maybe may not notice when it's or before it's get those bad. So I think I like those environment. It makes you feel you're in the nature or you're living in the environment, like live in the woods. That's exactly what is happening to me. I want to have that connection or reconnection, or I don't know, with the environment. That's why I wanted to study environmental humanities, environmental justice, and I think it's very healthy for sure. I wanted to smell it. I really do want to smell that every day. So that's why I come up to Maine here, have my Maine experience.
This is so funny because shouts out to my old roommate Hillary Warner Evans, who's from Maine, who went to University of Maine. But she always said spring in Indiana doesn't smell right. She always said that about spring in Indiana. And it's so cool that you just corroborated that point with her.
Yeah, there's a long winter, short spring.
Yeah. She always said she's a what did she used to say? She's not a water sign, like astrologically she's a mud sign because Mainers. Yeah.
Yes.
But
yes.
And then the last one before we get into your activity, your heart, after playing Hot Pot for one, after talking about your scholarship, what comfort food are you craving right now?
Oh, wow. For me, I think, I would say probably right on my table. It's chips. Can you see it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, the Cape Cod chips. Those are
Cape Cod
good.
chips.
The Cape Cod
Yes.
chips. I like the brown ones, like the dark russet potato ones. Those are my favorite.
Yes. I think sometimes you need those instant comfort foods. It's not like you have to take time and to prepare a hot pot, or I have to just have like dark chocolate or something.
Oh,
yeah.
Like it's very interesting you asked this question, because 2 nights ago, it's around midnight, I couldn't fall asleep. Then I thought about this amazing Beijing noodles that I had. Then I called my friend talking about that in China. Like, oh my God, I remember that. I was like, I haven't been home for 3 years because, I just haven't because COVID.
Yeah.
Then I think, oh, wow. And we used to like be very good friends. And now we're like, oh, the food. I first thought the food, and then I thought about you. Okay.
Yeah.
Then
look at this.
Yeah.
Nostalgia, food in action.
Yes.
Food in memory.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's cool.
As David Sutton, who probably wrote my favorite book about my favorite food studies book. No, my second favorite food studies book, Remembrance of Repasts. He says there's a proverb in Greek that he translates that says, "Hunger is not in the cookie; it's in your memory." Yeah. And I always think about that. Daisy.
Wow, this is a great interview.
Hart, amazing interview. Oh my gosh, yeah, you've nailed every question. But Daisy, you want to do this next part?
Yeah, we have a fun part. We're done asking you the hard questions. We have one giant question in a way.
Yeah.
Hart, have you ever made a tier list before?
Let's see here. I don't think so.
Well, Daisy, why don't you explain to Hart what is going on with our tier list?
You are in luck then. This is going to be very fun. So, tier lists are something that come from fighting games online where you can rank your favorite characters. You can rank characters by all kinds of different metrics. But they've gotten popular on Twitch for being a way to rank stuff in everyday life. And that's what our whole stream is about.
That's what Folklore
stuff in everyday life. That's
everyday
Folklore.
Life.
Yes.
And so we ask our guests to rank things for us on a scale of to D, S being superior, number one, masterclass, better than anything else. D is like, this is terrible, take it off the list. We have had precedented Fs, so even below D if it's really truly that bad, and a double S if it's really truly a magical, ethereal experience. Today we are asking you, speaking of comfort food, to rank the best American comfort foods.
Our sleuths have put together a list of comfort foods, and we hope your research with Lucy Long has prepared you for this moment and this moment specifically.
Love that.
And I know the pictures are small, but Dom will let you know what they are so that we can all see them a little bit better.
You ready to get into it?
I am.
Let's go. First off is biscuits and gravy.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
you're going to be saying that a lot.
I love it too. All of these are so good.
I do that not only for Thanksgiving. Like I like the ones at the Cracker Barrel. Like they do a lot of
the Cracker Barrel biscuits are like the best like biscuits you can buy from a restaurant. Yeah.
I can do like B. I think
B right in the middle. Right in the middle. Okay.
Yeah.
Good start.
Yes, right in the middle. Because you don't have.
Next up is a chicken pot pie.
Oh, I would do that. C.
Okay.
I do like that, but it's just a lot. Like after that, you have to
work.
You cannot move even. Like you cannot mobilize after that.
Yes.
Yeah, immediately like instantly immobile.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got chicken noodle soup.
Oh, that will be the A, I think.
That's all right.
Oh yeah.
Let's go.
Good for sickness. Yeah.
I love the Amish. Like they have the market.
Oh, the slippery dumplings.
And they make the great chicken noodles.
Oh my god! It's so good.
Yes.
Awesome.
Next up, we've got chicken curry.
Oh, I would put that on C, I think.
Oh, C?
The reason, the reason is I do like that, but sometimes the flavor can be very strong. That's one of the comfort food you probably want to have not too often. It's like it's like
for yourselves.
It's like yes. It's your stomach can also not always like handle that.
I love red foods. Is this going below chicken pot pie or above chicken pot pie?
About the same, I think. Yeah,
you gotta pick one's higher, one's lower.
Oh, I have to do that. Oh my god, it's horrible game. It's horrible game. Then I would do that under.
Okay.
Like deep. Okay. Yeah. So I cannot have the So I cannot have the two food at the same.
You can have two food in this thing, but which one is first?
Yeah, which one is first in its row? Yeah, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So they go this way, they go horizontal and vertical. There's a rank, yeah.
Oh, okay. Then which were the one I first picked? I think that's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Next up is
chicken pot pie and then curry.
Speaking of red foods, next up is grilled cheese and tomato soup.
Oh, grilled cheese and tomato. I'll put that in a D actually.
Oh, spicy take!
I like spicy, like I like chilies, but I'm not a big cheese person. I'm American food is all
where this tier list is about to go in the next couple.
Until recently that I have friends who actually work on the local farm.
Mm-hmm.
They start to share some of their farm products, like the dairy, like cheese, all kind of like in a very organic form.
Yeah.
Shared with us.
Joel, raw milk when? Where's Lily's raw milk, Joel?
I'd be like, this is not the cheese I used to eat. That's great. Like then I start to change my view about cheese, but I'm not a big cheese person, actually.
Well, the next three are also involving cheese. Next is macaroni and cheese.
Oh my god, I hate that. I cannot.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
That's one of the things I never understand. It's just kind of.
Do we have to make an F tier? Do we have to go down to F tier?
Is it so bad?
Is it so bad we have to go to F?
Not that. No,
okay.
I can eat. I can take a bite. It's not that bad.
Chat has turned on you, Hart.
I know it's one of the iconic, like the comfort food.
Oh my god, I love that. You're like, no, please.
I hate that.
You have to understand. I mean, you don't have to understand. But one thing about me that I was growing up in a family where my dad was a chef. Like he used to be a chef, and my mom was a very strict person who will say, no chips. I didn't have chips at all before I went to high school, I think, which is a boarding school.
Yeah.
So like, because my mom is very strict about those healthy diet.
Yeah.
Like no sugar, no other stuff. Like, so for me, like I ate a lot of ice cream during the pandemic. And I did not tell my mom once.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
We don't have ice cream on here. We have all hot foods.
Yeah. So I think one of the things with comfort food is with comfort always comes guilt, or is in some way you feel like, oh my god, this
Interesting,
is bad. Like,
Yeah.
because we often will crave about, the chips, the macaroni and cheese, and
Yeah,
all
or
those
like,
things. Yes, it's so lots of calories in those sugar and stuff. Yeah.
and that's some ways it's like special too.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that is very special.
When we were making the list, we did have a moment where we were like, well, comfort food is really personal in some ways. So this was like our attempt at a generalized like list of American comfort foods.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The next one, I'll stick to the theme of all
Oh,
cheese.
gosh.
The next one is chips and queso.
Queso? Have you ever had queso?
No, I
Mexican
don't
cheese
think
dip.
Oh, I know that. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that would probably on the C.
Oh,
level.
okay.
A little bit
It's
better?
like
Yeah.
bottom of C. At least you get the chips for that. Yeah.
You get chips involved.
Yeah, I think I like the salsa better, I think, than this
Yeah.
dip. Because, it's just the flavor
Yeah.
difference.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's sometimes in this photo there's some tomatoes on top, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Death
Yes.
Loris said, let me tell you about queso. I made it at 8 a.m. once this year.
Good.
Queso
You trying
for
to impress me, Death Loris? Exclamation point! Don't chill. And Hart next. No, I don't want to influence you, but this is my number one. Next is lasagna.
Oh my god, this is my this is my bottom, I would say.
Oh my god, I love it.
Sorry.
That's my number one.
I'm glad, Hart. I'm glad that you stick to your opinions on this.
Yeah,
don't
chat
let
loves a bottom
Dominic.
heavy. No, chat loves a bottom heavy list though. They love the when someone's that opinionated. Yeah,
it's good.
I helped my roommate made a 4-cheese, I think, lasagna once for holiday, for American holiday. I mean, just for holiday actually. But then it was like, oh my god, was it like just pulling stuff like all those things, layers, and there's no vegetables? I was like,
no,
I bet it.
Not really.
There could be no. There's lasagna verde. Like you can't.
But
do
I
lasagna with like
loved
spinach.
eating that because it feels so good. It's so fulfilling. It's definitely would be the top comfort food for people who get used to eating those. But for me, it's very new to me. It's very new to me actually because my family would never eat that way.
I'll make you lasagna in Tulsa. I'll make you lasagna in Tulsa. I'll make you like a lasagna verde in Tulsa that you
a light cheese, high vegetable.
Yeah. There is like there is a kind of lasagna that's like lots of spinach, very light on the dairy. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we got a lot of cheese out of the way. We got some other good ones.
Okay. Here's mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes. I would put B.
Okay.
On the B level.
Under biscuits and gravy or above biscuits and gravy?
Under.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're gonna bring it home with 2 more chicken dishes. Okay.
Okay.
Number 1, chicken and waffles.
Chicken waffles?
Oh.
I think I had
to get down to the South. You need to get down to the South.
I was in the South in 2018 actually for semester in South Carolina.
Oh yeah. I associate chicken and waffles with I think Georgia, but South Carolina would do them very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the food there. Like I love it.
Yeah. So imagine a waffle, piece of fried chicken, syrup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would put it on the B level after. In between those.
In between.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
And last but not least, the most American food we could think of, General Tso's chicken.
Oh, I would have probably put it
the San Francisco delicacy.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Okay, I would probably like what's below the D? We can put it there.
Let's do it.
Below D and F tier, General Tso's chicken. Oh my gosh. Let's go.
The California delicacy.
People are popping off in chat about how spicy this is.
No, this is not the first ever no S. No, not the first ever no S. Eli didn't have an S.
Yeah, I think Eli didn't have an
S. Now, knowing that you didn't get an S. Yeah, go for it, Days. Go for it.
We have a question. What did we not put on this list that you would have put in S tier?
I'm guessing ice cream.
Ice cream is a good one. We didn't really think of doing. We didn't really
all hot foods. Those are my comfort foods, though. Yeah.
What's like? Yeah, what would be the best?
I I think I did have something. For me, I think was the breakfast sandwich.
Oh, that's a
we
good
almost
one.
did continental breakfast. We almost did like eggs, potatoes, and toast.
Yeah, that was from
Closer,
like
Yeah.
the farmers market. They would make
Oh
it like
no, I love a good like
Mhm.
like on an
you know
English
like
muffin or a crumpet or something. Yeah.
it just
Mhm.
it's just almost impossible to replicate that kind of the way
Mhm.
they did it. I
Yeah,
like
like
that.
I love a good breakfast sandwich. And that's one thing that I've been vegan for a long time.
Mhm.
And that's one thing that I've like
Oh
worked.
yeah.
I don't like, there aren't a lot of things that I like miss. Like I don't miss a lot of meats really or stuff like that. But the breakfast sandwich combination of like cheese, eggs, and sausage, like just, I don't know what it is, but that is like something that I've tried really hard to
Yes.
recreate. And because it's so good, it's such a good comfort food. Yeah, that is a good one. Oh,
Yes.
chocolate chip waffles, bubbly like soda says. Jaded December, biscuits and gravy is on the list, top of B.
Oh, we
Uh,
do. Yeah, biscuits and gravy is the closest. Well,
yeah,
chicken and waffles and biscuits and gravy are right next to each other, and yeah, there's definitely
yeah,
a breakfast vibe there.
yeah. There's a breakfast vibe. Yeah,
Oh, moons over my
um,
hammy at Denny's. Now that is good.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh, country ham. I love
Oh,
a red eye
country ham.
ham. There, I did.
Yeah.
I created. If you can see on Twitch, I created.
It's like it says breakfast.
I created
It says
the
S tier.
honorary Hart S tier on Twitch.
It's yeah on S tier. It's just white text in S tier that says breakfast. Ooh woo. Ooh woo breakfast. Yeah, we love a good breakfast.
This
But we
this
like
is
some of
this
this
is the
bacon.
second
We didn't have a
OS
lot of
tier.
bacon here.
Um,
Strawberry shortcake, is that one we could do?
could be.
Is cake one? Maybe not. Maybe it's not really a comfort food. That's like that has its own predictable moment in our lives, right? Like we can predict that we will get cake at a certain point, where comfort food is like
That's
you don't
true.
know you need it till
That's
you
true.
crave it.
That Daisy, that's a very good definition. I like that.
Yeah. The difference between comfort food and like calendrical rights based food.
Somebody just screenshot this. I think this is a fun screenshot right now, especially with Hart's background with like the systems operational message on the screen behind him.
I think I know what the thumbnail is gonna look for this
Breakfast
video.
woo.
All right,
Daisy, do you want to try to tie
gosh.
it together? Do you want to try it together?
Yeah, we always try to tie this together. So, okay, hold on. I just had to clip that thumbnail.
Here we have the Hart Bullock official American comfort foods tier list.
Yeah, on a scale, from breakfast woo to General Tso's chicken, how fresh do you prefer your freezer food?
Oh,
I don't do phrase at all.
Yeah.
I don't do
Yeah,
phrase.
exactly,
I don't like.
exactly.
I don't eat canned food at all. I know
Oh.
I'm a
I'm
little
like-
bit.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like.
Well, that's your problem. The best General Tso's chicken is out
How-
of the bag in the freezer.
How about okay, on a scale of what was our A tier again?
Chicken noodle soup.
Okay. On a scale of chicken noodle soup to General Tso's chicken, how oh god, how wet do you prefer your chicken?
Okay. Daisy's done. Daisy's done. We're cutting back to the interview screen. Thanks, Daisy. You're going back to Folklore Jail with Big Chungus. Daisy, how about the Daisy Chill chat command? Daisy Chill. Yes, please post the B story to shame them, everyone. I want the chat to take over my face on the screen because everyone's spamming bees. Hart, this was an amazing interview. I had a ton of fun, and I'll see you in Tulsa. Apparently, come over I promise you lasagna. I promise you like the lasagna verde. Come over for a vegetarian lasagna in Tulsa. We'll have an Airbnb. And Daisy, do I dare let you speak again?
Yes, because let me speak again because I also want to say, Hart, that was an awesome interview, and you made me think a lot about folklore in the world. And I always think that that's like the best kind of interview when we can just kind of get excited about the stuff that we we study together. It's really cool.
You know what to do. Chat. Ladders for Hart. If you don't have ladders for Hart, how about exclamation point bees for Daisy? But wish Hart a hearty GG.
Quilts have had meaning on many levels. Making quilts helped me to get a sense of my own space, sense of finding my way, sense of really working my way out of the labyrinth.